Good day and welcome to Chess Corner. In today's game, we have a game from FIDE Candidates 2024, and this is actually from round 5. In today's game, we have a game from Grandmaster Reza Firouzja against Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura. Well, let's get right into it. So we have e4 by Larissa, e5 by Nakamura here, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, then we have knight f6. So we have the Italian game, we have d3, and now we have bishop to c5. After bishop c5, we have c3 only, probably just to prevent any knight d4, knight d4 moves here, and probably with the idea of playing d4. And now we have h6 just to prevent the possibility of winning the knight. Now we have b4 right away attacking the bishop. Bishop has to move. We have queen to b3, already putting pressure on this pawn on f7. And in this position, basically you have several options. You can always castle, and then you can also go rook f8, but that's not a good idea to keep your king in the middle. Even a possibility of g5 as per suggestion by Indian, but those are all losing moves. Probably the best move is just simple castle. So after castle, we have a4. Still, white is trying to expand here on the queen side. We have d6 by Naka, and now knight d2. We have knight to e8, so this knight will probably reroute to d7, and then maybe a possibility of going to d6. That's several options. So first we have d4. So let us decided to play in the middle or on the center, and now we have capture, capture, and now a5. After a5 we have e5. So let us is actually playing a bit aggressive in this position, attacking in the middle, not concerned about the king here, still in the middle. So here we have knight to h5 only. And in this position, well, there's always a possibility of you can go g4, but not yet because it will be a simple capture. So here we have b5, excellent move. That's knight f4 now. And the threat is to capture on g2. So here you have several options. Probably the most common is just a simple castle. You can also go g3 or you can go d5, but this is too aggressive. So you have g3 only, and now we have d5. So Nakamura actually decided to counter in the middle. And in this position, we have several options. Of course, you can capture the knight. That's one of the options. You can also go bishop f1. Even bishop e2 is also playable. But in this position, played bishop f1. After bishop f1, knight e6, bishop d2 only, and now we have c6. We have castle, knight d7, bishop b2, and now knight to d6. We have capture on c6 and then capture on c6. And now we have bishop c3 only by Larissa. Well, this bishop c3 is probably to prevent the bishop b4. That's always an option. After bishop c3, we have c5. So it's actually Nagao's playing in the middle now or attacking on the center. So after c5, we just have rook to b1 now. So already putting pressure on this knight. And of course, you have several options. You can simply move the knight. That's playable. But if you're gonna play, let's say knight to b7, this will be, under attack. This pawn on d5. So here, the only move is rook a6. After rook a6, we have capture on c5, and now bishop takes c5. Queen b5 was played, so not allowing this bishop to move because you can't play d7 because queen takes a6 would be a big threat. Now we have queen c7 only, now rook c1. Well, this is actually dangerous because as you can see, it's the same direction on the queen here. So here we have queen to a7 only by Naka, so we would like to remove from the pin. And then after that, we have queen to e2. Bishop d7 was played, and now bishop f1. So after bishop f1, as you can see on this position, the bishop and the queen is actually attacking this rook in this position. So here, how are we gonna defend it? Well, you can play like bishop, but this is too passive. And what else we can play? Basically, there are two options only, and this is what he played. Knight c4, an excellent move. After knight c4, we have knight to d2. So after knight b3, rather after knight b3, we have bishop b6 now, not giving the bishop um on this diagonal because this is actually pretty strong. So after this one, we have rook to d1, queen a8, and now we have bishop g2, knight c5. Well, as per computer evaluation, not the best continuation. The main suggestion is just to go rook c8, queen b8, even rook e8. But anyway, we have knight to c5. After knight c5, we have knight takes c5, bishop takes c5, knight h4. And now what's the main threat? So the main threat is actually this pawn on d5. This is actually threat or attack twice already. And the only piece which is defending it is basically this queen. So in this position, we have knight b6 defending the pawn on d5. So after that, we have bishop to d4 trying to neutralize or remove the strong bishop in this diagonal because this is actually a big threat to the king. So here we have bishop takes d4, rook takes d4 now, and now rook a7. We have h3, and then we have rook to c7. We have g4 now, and now queen to c8. Queen d2 was played. Again, attacking this pawn on a5. It's actually isolated. This is also isolated, so it's really hard for basically black to defend. But here we have rook c5, an excellent move by Naka, defending the pawn, both of them here. Now we have queen f4. Now we have rook e8. Knight f5 was played. And if you're going to take a look at the position, this knight is pretty strong. The idea is to go knight d6, forking the rook and the queen simultaneously. But of course, Naka won't allow it. We have bishop takes f5. He takes f5 now. And now we have queen to c7. After queen c7, we have rook e1 only because this pawn is basically threatened twice already. Knight d7 was played again, putting pressure on this pawn on e5. e6 was played. Now king takes f4. Rook takes f4 now, and then knight to 6. We have rook to d4, so still putting pressure on this pawn on d5. But now we have king to f8, just trying to activate the king because we're actually close to endgame. Actually, we're on endgame now here. So here we have rook d2 only, but now we have capture, capture, and now we have king to e7. Under king e7, we have rook to b2, so trying to control this open file here. So here we have rook ec8. Probably the idea is if you're going to check, then I can simply just cover. So after that one, we have bishop f1 now. Now knight to e4. We have bishop to d3. Actually, Alarasa would like to capture this knight because this knight is pretty strong. But of course, we have knight c3. Naka won't allow it. Again, this is putting pressure already on this pawn on a4. We have f4 was played, but now we have d4. After d4, we have rook to d2, so attacking this pawn on g7. So we have g5 by Naka. So we have f5. So now this pawns are actually connected and they're actually a potential pass pawn. But right now the king is basically doing a good job here because you really can't kick the king here. The only way for you to do it is probably with the rook or pushing the pawn anyway. But now we have knight d5, again adding additional defender here on f6, and maybe he want to go here on f4, and this will be problematic if the knight can go to f4. So we have rook e4 now, but now we have knight to d4. We have check on f6, so king takes f6 happen. Rook f2 with a check. After rook f2, we have rook f5, excellent move. And in this position, it looks like there are few tactics. So here we have capture, king takes f5. Now we have e7. The idea is to promote, so you really need to block it or maybe do something else. So here, Nakamura found the best resource, which is knight takes d3. Now we have queen capture, and now we have rook takes uh, 8. If we're gonna evaluate the possession, it's still as per computer evaluation, it's pretty equal because even though black has a knight for a rook, he has two pawns, and there's also like a potential pass pawn here on 4. So in this position, we have knight f4 played by Naka, so attacking this pawn again. So we have king f1. After king f1, we have d3. So really, you really need to guard this pawn because it's pretty close now to promoting. So here we have king f2. So in this position, it's still equal, but now we have capture on h3. King e3 was played, excellent move, but now g4. Now another pass pawn is actually pretty close, and it's strong passer actually because it's connected. So here, let us actually commit a mistake by capturing this pawn on d3. So after capturing the pawn on g3, you can actually pause the video and look for the best move here for black. Okay, well now the best move for black is to basically just simply push the pawn to g3. And how can you stop this pawn? I mean, you can go something like rook to g8, but after rook g8, then there will be like a simple knight g5, and you really can't stop this pawn right now. And in this position, if you want to go like something like rook to e1, then again, it's just simple g2, and then it will promote next move. So let us have played rook f8. This is the last move because there's no hope for white anymore here. So we have king to e6, and in this position, let us actually resign. There's actually just one major mistake that happened in the game. It's probably by just capturing king takes d3. That's the critical position in this game, and because of this, Hikaru Nakamura won his first game in the candidates. Well, thank you for watching Chess Corner, and please consider subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.